Ladies and gentlemen, it's now also my great honor to introduce my good friend, Yoseph Haddad. Yoseph has been a courageous advocate for Israel and a powerful voice for coexistence and peace, including on campuses worldwide. As an Israeli Arab, and I might quote you, a proud Israeli and a proud Arab, he has been dedicated in his life to bridging gaps between communities and promoting understanding and cooperation. The Caucus for Jewish and pro-Israel students around the world was created based on Yosef's own visionary idea, which Moshe Turpaz and I are privileged to implement. His tireless efforts to defend Israel and champion the values of democracy and human rights make him an inspiration to all of us. Please join me in welcoming Yoseph Haddad.
Congresswoman Ellis Stefanik, Chairman of Knesset, Amir Ohana, MK Amir Ohana, Chairmen of this important caucus, MK Danilos and MK Moshe Torpaz, and everyone here in the audience, thank you very much for coming, and it's a huge honor to be part of this important mission, the mission of actually giving a voice. When we started this, we wanted to give a voice for the Jewish students and for the non-Jewish students who support Israel, who wants to stand on the right side of the history, who are being bashed, bullied by anti-Israeli terror supporters, some of them with the potential of being actually terrorists in the United States, including in the campuses around the United States and also in Europe, actually around the world. And we want them to have this voice here in order for them to shout what's going on. You know, we are in Israel, we have our army, we have our police, we have our people. Despite the insecurity that we have because of the terrorist organizations, we still have each other. But Jewish students and non-Jewish students who support Israel, they don't have the IDF. They don't have the Israeli police. They don't have the Israeli people close here to protect them. And that's why it was very important for us to make sure that their voice being heard and the state of Israel actually listening. And this is why we are here. Now, Congresswoman, I must say that we have something in common, you and I. And the fact is that you, just like me, are the proof that you don't have to be a Jew to support the state of Israel. You don't have to be a Jew to fight anti-Semitism, to fight anti-Israelis, terror supporters, and as I said, potentially even being terrorists, actually just to be on the right side of the history. And for that, I would like to tell you thank you very much. And further than that, to tell you that your video actually gives some of a satisfying moment for the Israeli people in the midst of this chaos and destruction. And I'll never forget when I published that video with millions of views, where Israeli people just were absolutely happy after being bashed time after time by politicians. Some of those politicians are biased. Some of them know the truth, decide to lie. Some of them are just brainwashed. Sorry for using this language, even idiots that has no clue about the reality here. And just like the chairman of Knesset said, shouting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. But when you ask them what's the name of the river and what's the name of the sea, none of them knows the answer. And when you ask them, so what does it mean regarding Israel? None of them knows the answer. They don't know that this means the destruction of the state of Israel. But I'm going to take it a step forward. And I'm going to speak about the chant Intifada. You know, as an Arab, knowing what the actual meaning of Intifada, not the violent uprising, that's a direct translation, but the actual meaning of Intifada is more blood of Jews and Arabs spilled for nothing, because a bunch of terrorists decided to yet again try to kill, put destruction, blow buses, pick war over peace, death over life. There's a reason why Douglas Murray said Israeli people choose life. There's a reason why our enemies want to destroy us. And I cannot not remember when I decided to join the army. Because, Congresswoman, as an Arab, I don't have to. I decided to volunteer. And one of the things that people ask me about is, why did you decide to volunteer when you were after the age of 18? And he said, it's actually in the name. The Israeli army is called the IDF, not the JDF. It's Israeli Defense Forces, not Jewish Defense Forces. And when Hezbollah and Hamas and other terrorist organizations, backed up by the head of the snake of terrorism, Iran, when they choose to attack Israel, they attack the entire civilians and population of the state of Israel, Jews and Arabs. And when the IDF defends Israel, the IDF defends the entire state of Israel, Jews and Arabs. And in fact, right now, as we speak, you have Jewish soldiers, Muslim soldiers, Christian soldiers, and of course, Druze soldiers fighting in Gaza and every front line in Israel to save our country. On the 7th of October, Congresswomen, the Israeli partnership, we saw that at its finest when Arab Israelis and Jewish Israelis saved each other. Heroes like Yoseph Haddad, who's an Arab Muslim from the city of Rahat, when he was asked, why didn't you run away when bullets were flying all over? He answered, I am an Israeli and there were Israelis there. Why would I run away? When Awad Darawshi, a paramedic, came to the Nova party to save Israelis, he was shot and killed, murdered by the terrorist organization, terrorists, Hamas. An Arab Muslim who wanted to save people's life, and it was Hamas that killed him. Remo El-Huzail, an Arab Muslim police Israeli officer, saved over 300 Israelis, an Israeli hero. Arab businessmen and women donated millions of shekels for the IDF and for the people of the South. The anti-Israeli movement will do absolutely everything to delete all those testimonies and all those facts, because they don't want to show you the truth. They want to lie. They are on purpose calling Israel an apartheid state, because guess what? When you point on a problem that does not exist, you cannot solve it. And when you cannot solve that problem, you're going to maintain the conflict, which means that they don't want to solve the conflict. Follow the money. If there's a conflict, you're going to get a budget. And if you get a budget, you're going to get millions of dollars that you can use for your own purposes, and of course, to advance an agenda that does not exist. That's why we are fighting. And this is why we have to keep fighting. So, Congresswoman, before I finish, and everyone here, I would like to say that during the second Intifada, it was on the 4th of October, 2003, a month before the beginning of my service. Now, I was 100% sure that I'm doing this, and on my decision to serve in the army. But on the 4th of October, 2003, it became actually 1,000,000%. Unfortunately, it became 1,000,000% because of a devastating event that happened during the Second Intifada, when a Palestinian female terrorist entered the Maxim restaurant in Haifa, the largest mixed city in Israel. The Maxim restaurant in Haifa, Congresswoman, was and still a symbol of partnership between Jews and Arabs, because it's co-owned by Jews and Arabs. That Palestinian terrorist ended up killing 21 Israeli civilians, Jews and Arabs, injuring over 50 Jews and Arabs. And that's 1 month before the beginning of my service. At that day, I knew that terrorism does not discriminate between Jews and Arabs. If you are an Israeli, you are a target for terrorism. And that's why we have and we must fight those terrorists here in Israel and abroad. And I promise you, seeing and hearing Congresswoman Ellis, I knew and I know that we have good friends here. And I know that we will keep fighting until we win, because we don't have any other option. Finally, we cannot not mention our kidnapped Israelis in Gaza. It's already more than 7 months since babies, men and women and elderly, are in captivity, not knowing if they even know what day it is, if it's morning or if it's evening. We have families who are fighting to bring back the hostages, and this is one of the most important missions. Bring back the hostages, defeat Hamas, defeat Hezbollah, make sure that the only true democracy in the Middle East, where I am free to say what I want, where I have the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, in the only place in the Middle East, stays and celebrate yet one more year and one more year and for many, many more years, because any one of those terrorists who think that they can destroy the state of Israel, let me tell you something. When the Israeli society, both Jews and Arabs, from left or right, secular or religion, are united, you cannot and you will not defeat us. And when we have allies, such as Congresswoman Alice, I can promise you, you're gonna see here Israel for many, 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 many years. And in Arabic we say, اللي مش عاجبه يروح يبلط البحر, which means if you don't like it, deal with it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, stay informed and inspired. This is Djobnik signing off.